live from 382 Campbell Street. It's Fun with Fantasy. Melissa, take your hand away from the camera. It's fine. I know you messed up. It's fine. All right, we're back live as always from my crib, transcribing from Manchester, New Hampshire. It's your boy, the Commish, and I present you. Commish presents Fun with Fantasy. So everyone knows the rules. Over the course of the next 16 weeks, recapping everything regarding fantasy, reviewing teams, and going through our sectors. So this week we are sponsored by Concussions. This is our first public announcement, so I'm a little nervous, but let's see how it goes. Concussions are a serious yet underrated disease in the world of fantasy. People don't realize, but 1 in every 10 fantasizers may one day get a concussion. Things like bashing their head off a table when people aren't texting you back, or I'm trying to think of another one. People overthinking trades, just constant brain motion, concussions occur. So our league is very susceptible to this. I pretty much just said 2 things that our league does exclusively. So we need to help spread the word about the new disease that is concussions. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I think one of our own may have this nasty disease that is a concussion. And I believe it is Brett Fiocchi. I think it's serious. So I want to dive into our first ever, completely original fantasy intervention. Brett is on hold right now. I called him up. I want to have a talk with him. I think he has this concussion, and it's a big deal. We can't lose league members because of this. It's sweeping the nation. So I want to make sure I nip this in the bud, nail it in the ass, get it figured out with Brett, because I'm concerned. So Brett's on hold. Let's talk to Brett. But before, I want to go through why I think Brett has a concussion. So last Tuesday, Brett reaches out to me, asks, "Who are you using your waiver claim, and who are you picking up?" Why the fuck are you asking me this, dude? But I'm a nice guy, so I play along. Trustworthy. Everyone knows that. I'm a big trust guy. So I tell Brett, yes, John Brown. This was at like noon Tuesday, working, not really, haven't even dug into fantasy yet, but regardless, conversation over with. He then gets mad when I cancel the claim at like 9 o'clock that night, right before my bedtime. So, come Wednesday, browsing the internet, completely forgot that waivers have gone, and I hop on, probably around 4:30ish, who even knows, I don't even know, and I look and John Brown's there, so I'm like, yeah, well, I'll take a flyer on him, probably best wide receiver on the Cardinals, maybe in the league, I don't know, probably. So, grab him, pretty stoked, until about 9 o'clock comes around. Brett's getting out of bed and says, "That's the most dickhead move I've ever seen you do. I'm over you. My friendship is done, and I never want to talk to you again." And I'm taken back. He says, "Yeah, because you didn't put the claim in." Well, why didn't you put the claim in? Like if I got him, then the claim would have been just wiped out, and you wouldn't have used your waiver claim. Why wouldn't you put the baffling? That's why I'm pretty sure he has a concussion. So let's roll. Let's get Brett off holds. Get him on the line. First fantasy intervention. Let's go. Let's hit it. So Brett, hey, how's it going, Brett? What's going on? Brett, you there? Brett. Hey, Brett. We're having some technical difficulties with Brett. You know, Melissa, I need you to be a little better. We're going to have to pause. All right, we're back. Technical difficulties. Obviously, Brett's fault. Forgot how to use a phone. So, here's Brett. Let's go. Brett, what's going on? All right, well, this is more severe than I thought. He's come down with an Indian accent. That's a number one symptom of a concussion. Accents. Brett, we got to figure this out. So, what happened? Why didn't you put in the claim, regardless if I was putting in the claim?
Well, I trusted that you would become John and was lazy about any claim for him.
It's hard to hear you under that derelict, but so laziness, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I've heard that before from you. So what are you going to do better next week? Are you going to try to use the philosophy of putting in waiver claims when you actually want a guy?
How was Florida?
Brett. I mean, I'm not in Florida, Brett. I'm in New Hampshire. We're talking on the phone. We're losing him, guys. I think we need to seriously rethink, how we do things around here, and if this is causing concussions, we may have to get rid of the league. I don't know. This is severe, but Brett, last question: what caused the concussion, or what do you think is the reason for this concussion?
Well, I have been trying to trade Johnson to everyone for one player, but Jay values his kicker to high. Jason overvalues D'Angelo, and you don't want to give up Bell, Robinson, Ingram, and Ben for him.
Different accent, British. That's not good, Brett. I've heard the worst case concussions are when you flip accents. That's bad news. I know what you mean, though. I may be coming down with concussion, too. Jared does value his kicker too high. Jason thinks D'Angelo is probably worth Bell. Maybe not Johnson just yet, but he's in the Bell range. And I can't give up Bell, Robinson, Ingram, and Big Ben for DJ. Just not yet. Maybe next week, but not yet, Brett. So that was Brett Fiocchi, everyone. Severe concussion. Let's reach out to him. T's and P's for Brett. So let's get back to reviewing this week. Let's see. Jared pops his cherry with a pathetic win over Sean, but a win's a win. Didn't even get to triple digits, but again, win's a win. Mike loses another squeaker to Shane in another low-scoring match, but Mike just continues to get screwed. And Ross continues to prove his manlyhood as he rolls through Pinto. PJ also continues to roll as those two teams are top of the league. Not a very hard win from PJ. Brett put up the lowest score of the week. Fun fact, lowest score ever in this league was by Wayne Lecor, Shane Pecor, 45 points. That's pretty bad, but it happens. Sean's still out there looking for his first win. May get it versus Ross this week. Doubt it, but maybe. But doubt it. Sectors. So, new sector. This is called, we're running late. The Brett took forever. I got to speed this up a little bit. This is called Commish Bitch. This is where I go through, bitch about either you or the league or anything that I want to bitch about because it's my television show. This week I want to bitch about kickers and defense. I think they are fucking useless. I don't know why they're even a part of fantasy football. Defense makes no sense. Why wouldn't you have individual defensive players? They're not offensive scoring players. They make no fucking sense. There's no skill involved in picking up a fucking defense. So it's the swing of 10 to 20 points for no fucking skill involved whatsoever. We should only be skilled players. Said this 1,000 times. Get rid of the fucking loser kickers that pretty much score the same amount of points every week anyways, but can be the deciding factor in a game. And get rid of the defense. If you've got kickers, why not have fucking punters? Why not have a head coach? Why not have individual players? It just doesn't make any... Let's fucking add offensive linemen into it. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Some fucking brilliant genius said, oh, I'm going to have a kicker, but not going to have a punter. And I'm going to have a defense, but not individual defensive players. And let's see. But if the offense throws an interception, defense never gets on the field, you still get negative points. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Fucking fantasy. Next segment, superlatives. Team most likely to have a player score 44 points and still lose goes to Jason Dexter. That's rough, but hopefully it's shedding light on how bad his team is, but I'm not going to be the one to tell him that. Starting a new segment, totally different from last week's financial talk with the flamethrower. This one's called Flamethrower Gives Financial Advice. Completely different. We got an email from Physics Professor King. Sounds familiar. I don't really recognize him, but sounds familiar. He asks, I spent almost 25% of my money on Luck, who looks to be the worst quarterback in the league. Have you seen any of his games? Great question. Everyone knows I'm a money guy, so if you need management advice, I'm your guy. Luck is a big concern. He looks the worst. And I mean the worst in the worst ever. He pretty much only has points because fourth quarter he makes a comeback, but he looks awful. I'm sad that you spent 42-ish, I'm guessing if I do the math right, $42-ish on him, but you got to get rid of him. Drop him, kill him, whatever you got to do. Quickly, new segment, completely original, management power rankings. Everyone knows the rules. NFL managers, ranked players. I'm only going to do top two, bottom two. Here we go. Worst two for this week. Brett Fiocchi, 87 points, pathetic. Sean Carton, can't get a win if his mother had, I don't even know where I'm going with that. And then best two goes to blank. Everyone knows the rules about blank. And Ross Simpson. There's your week. Next week, exciting new feature. We're bringing in our first guest ever. First live guest to ever go on a fantasy television show that airs at 8:30 on Sundays. So excited about that. Live guest. We'll ask him some questions, get his advice. Join me every Sunday before game time. Fun with fantasy. We're out.